Hey, it's different. It's different. All right. Got the coffee. Do I got a timer on this one? I don't see one. Oh, there it is. Okay. Coming at you in 5, 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today's Friday, July 16th, 2021. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. So, we got a new platform. Whole new. I put a little bit of cinnamon in. It's good. Trying something new. Okay. So the short version is using StreamYard right now, which is an alternative. It's instead of going direct from the phone to do first cup, got my computer involved. I pulled the camera out, and we're trying to step it up a notch, right? Now I'm going to need your feedback. I'm going to need your input. I'm going to need to know how this works on your end, how it looks. Are there problems? All kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of things that I'm going to need from all of you. Because the ultimate goal is that in the coming weeks, when we do First Cup, we will have it on YouTube and Facebook. Something Frank and I talked about. And I don't know. I don't know if it will be good for us. But it's probably not going to be bad for us. So let's find out. StreamYard's interesting. There's a chance that we start using StreamYard for podcast. I've got this crazy idea that maybe we do some of the shows live and Patreon contributors can get in on that. I don't know. I don't know yet. So many options. But step one, like anything, white belt time. Let's figure out if this thing works, how it works, and go from there. So what I would love to test is the comment stuff. So I know we have a few people watching live. Could you just throw a quick comment on for me? I rarely ask for that. Just throw me a comment, just something, just say hello or whatever, just so I can see what it looks like from my end. That would be great. I hope you had a good Thursday. I had a pretty solid Thursday. Productive, personally productive, professionally productive. After work, met a friend out for drinks as part of a, last night turned into a social gathering, but it's really more of a professional group. And a bunch of new people that I had not met before. And by the end of the night, we were all friends. It was awesome. You ever get together in one of those groups and you're like, oh, this person's kind of neat. Out of 20, almost everybody at this group was kind of neat. So I made some friends. Hey, wow. Nish says the lighting looks much different. Matthew says, good morning, Jeremy. No idea how. I just knew to check out Whistlekick this morning. Well, I'm glad you did. Thanks for all you do. Our martial arts family really appreciate it. Well, thank you, Matthew. That means a lot to me. It's those sorts of comments that keep me going. They keep us going because, as you know, I don't hide the fact that we're not yet profitable. So it's knowing that people appreciate what we do gives me hope that we will get there, that we just need to find the right combination of things. John says hello. Well, thank you to all of you. Yeah, the lighting is different. The camera is, the camera is different, right? Instead of using this, I'm using this, and I think does a better job of, I think it's a better quality camera. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's a worse quality camera. I don't know. But it's a different camera. I don't know that there's an easy way for me to do what I'm doing here from this. There's no app. So we're just going to mess with it. We're going to try it. I'm very aware that I'm distracted by my computer because this is connected to my computer, and I'm looking at my computer versus looking at the camera. That's the big downside right now, is that's going to take me some time to get used to. And the camera's also up a little bit more. I kind of like it. I kind of like it here more, but we'll figure all this out. Anything else happened yesterday? I didn't get back until late. This 5 o'clock social hour went till after 8, and finally it was 8:15, and there were still like 5 people hanging out. And I was like, guys, I gotta go. I have a 45-minute drive. They're like, oh yeah, Thursday. Thursday. I can't be up late on Thursday. When did I go to bed? 10 something. Came home. Just went to bed. I got a sandwich from the grocery store because I was hungry. Did you guys check out yesterday's episode of Martial Arts Radio? Did you listen to that episode of why most martial arts marketing sucks? We got some feedback coming in. Apparently, I am not the only one seeing all of these ads all over social media. People advertising to anyone and everyone, it seems. And yeah. Let's see, should I announce that? Sure. Craig Wareham, who's been on the show a number of times. He was the one that came on to do How to Fight 2. He was the one that picked Roadhouse and our choice to fight Dalton. Let me know. He said, there are a bunch of people, some who've been on the show, some who might want on the show, that go to Comic-Cons. Rhode Island's got a pretty interesting one. I've been for years. You should see about going. So Andrew and I talked about it. We looked it up. They had press credentials. They let us in. So Martial Arts Radio will be attending, if all goes well, Rhode Island Comic-Con as media. I don't know what that means. We have press passes, basically. But how fun is that? So I don't know what we're going to do as we get closer. It's not until November. What is it, November 6th? 5th, 6th, 7th, something like that. As we get closer, I'll want some feedback from you all. We can talk about who's going to be there, who you want us to talk to. And really, the main goal is to be able to approach people, have a face-to-face conversation with them and say, hey, we want to bring you on the show. We do things differently. Craig actually just messaged me yesterday, said there were 3 more people from Cobra Kai that got signed on. So it's a decent event. I'm excited for it. Anything else? The cat's looking at me funny. You're not going to get as many shots of the cat at this angle. That's disappointing. I think this. Oh, here she comes. You coming over? No? Okay. What else? What else? I don't know what else. I'm thrown off. Can you tell? I had a groove. How long did we use this? We've been using that since day one. Man, I've had that phone a long time. We tested Minicam for Whistlekick Live on this show, and it didn't work so well. And ultimately, that was one of the contributing factors. That was quite the delay that inspired me to get better internet. Now we've got very good internet. Actually, we have 2 very good internet connections. I went to, so back before, right? I upgraded my internet through Comcast, Xfinity, depending on what they feel like calling themselves. I don't understand why they have 2 names. I have a 650 megabit connection. It's pretty fast. When I started that connection, I was paying $120 a month. And then I called them up and I said, this is too much money. And they said, oh, okay. How about 100? And I said, that's fine. And then I called them up again and I got them down to 80. Now there's some taxes and whatever, but it's like 75, 80 bucks, something like that. And I went on because now we've got this faster internet connection. I was like, I can cut this back. Doesn't need to be this fast. I could go from the only plan they're willing to give me online. I'm sure if I call, there are other options, so I'll have to do this. And the only option they're willing to give me to change online, I can go from 650 to 50 and save $5 a month. Come on, you guys. Talk about terrible business. Jerks. Utter jerks. Ugh. There's a reason they're one of the most hated companies in the country. Now, what's fun about StreamYard is, in theory, I can bring people on. The comments are formatted much better. I can do, oh, where's this? There's a thing I can do here. Hold on. You're gonna experience this in real time. Do you feel excited? Are you pumped? Are you super duper pumped? Just wait. Just wait. Just wait. It's happening. Oh, that holder. Come on. You see the logo in the corner? Yeah, it's probably not nearly as big of a deal as I made it. And then, there's all kinds of stuff we can do. We can change my name. We can do this. I can edit that stuff, So there's some fun stuff to play with here that theoretically I can pull together on the fly. It's not nearly as powerful as Minicam. Minicam, for those of you that saw what we did with Whistlekick Live, Minicam is an amazing program. And it is not something that I was able to handle on the fly the way we did it with Gabe remoting in from the other side of the country, which I still think is just a super cool thing that we did. You need a person in the control room. It's kind of necessary. But there's a lot that we're going to do with this, and I'm just going to slowly roll it out. So thank you to all of you for your patience. Here's an experiment. I can show Nish's comment about the lighting looking different. Look at that. For like a Q&A or something, there's I think we're going to get some value out of this. It's a whopping $25 a month. So, what else? Is there anything else I want to show in here? I don't know. Nothing I can think of. Okay. Let's see what you all gave me to talk about. That part of the show hasn't changed. I can look at it on here. Oh, I can look at it on here. Ooh. The phone is a little faster if I press the right buttons. Remember, if you want to give me stuff to talk about, you drop it in the comments after the show closes, or you email me, jeremy@whistlekick.com. Responses to episodes and comments from Frank. All right, Frank's got some jokes for us. Thank you, Frank. Can I tell you one other thing we're working on? I'm gonna not quite break a rule, but you can't hold me to this if it doesn't happen. The original vision that became Free Training Day, which I think we have a date. I poked at that a lot this week. Pretty sure we have a date. The original vision for that was a weekend-long event. We weren't ready. We weren't big enough. We didn't have the reach. We didn't have the attention. We do now. I think I've got the perfect location. I have a conversation coming up next week. It won't be this year. It would be next year. But a weekend-long Whistlekick event. I'm super excited. It's amazing. I put in the tiniest dash of cinnamon in this whole thing, and it's perfect. Just a little bit. Just mix it up. Okay, Frank's jokes. Summer is heating up. Time to cool down with some air conditioning jokes. The inventor of the air conditioner has died. Thousands of fans are attending his funeral. I like jokes. I like air conditioners. But jokes about air conditioners, not a fan. My girlfriend and I were arguing about who would touch the air conditioner last because it wouldn't turn on. Needless to say, things got pretty heated. My computer and air conditioner have something in common. They both lose efficiency whenever I open the windows. I didn't get a warranty on my air conditioner, but it would be cool if I did. What did the air conditioner say to its remote control? You turn me on. I was told I'm quite the hipster. Where'd it go? I was told I'm quite the hipster because I turned on the air conditioner before it was cool. A great joke that only air conditioners will get. On second thought, I'm not going to say it. I can already tell you're not a fan. How does Rapunzel keep cool in the summer? She uses her air conditioner. A blonde, a brunette, and a redhead are each in their own rooms. Who is the hottest? Whoever forgot to turn on the air conditioner. And one more. After a long time, I told my hot coworker how I felt. She felt the same way. So I turned on the AC. I like it. Thank you, Frank. It was hot yesterday. It was 80, 87, 88 degrees. Kind of intense. I ended up wearing, I don't know if you have these dilemmas that I do, showing up to events and having to dress appropriately. And what is appropriate dress? And now what is appropriate dress post lockdowns? Because everybody wore pajamas for a year. I decided, so here's something that consumes a bit of my attention these days. Watching celebrities and looking at what makes them cool. You know what makes them cool? They don't care. They do what they want. They wear what makes them happy. They own it. They don't worry if anybody else minds. So yesterday, I chose not to wear shorts because I only have really like two pairs of shorts that I would call kind of professional-ish. I have a pair of almost linen, not quite, cotton pants. They're basically gi pants, but for wearing outside. They're great. They're light blue. They're flowy. I just got them back from the tailor. I had to take off. I'm short. I had to take off a bunch. I wore those and flip-flops and a Hawaiian shirt to a business meeting. And I sat there fine. Well, everyone around me dressed up more and they were dying. There was this one guy that I met and he was wearing more of like a formal collared shirt and khaki shorts and he's just dripping. It was rough. It was rough. I felt bad for everybody, but you know what? Nobody cared. Nobody treated me differently because I owned it. If it made me uncomfortable, that would have been a different story. Frank also gave us something else to look at. What else do we have, Frank? Talking about the heat. We've had some interesting hot weather. Fortunately, knock on wood, it hasn't quite made it out here yet. We haven't. For the Pacific Northwest to get as hot as they did, if we had gotten that weather, we would have gotten at least as hot, if not hotter. But we don't, because we're in New England, and we've already had 2 heat waves this summer. That's fine. Many places this summer are experiencing a heat wave, most notably the Pacific Northwest. So let's talk about hot weather safety. What should be done in preparation for hot weather? Okay, the things to keep in mind from a safety perspective: water and electrolytes. Now, here's the challenge. Salt has been demonized to the point where we don't get people fall into 1 or 2 categories with salt. Either they eat processed food and they get enough, or they don't and they don't. I continually find ways to add salt back into my diet. And despite that, have incidents on hot days where I didn't think I was outside that long. I didn't think I was that sweaty, where I'm getting headaches. And I finally, at 42 years old, figured out that these headaches that I've had my entire life are tied back to being dehydrated. And so how do I handle them now? More and more salt. Just throwing more and more salt on top of it. Now, can you go overboard? Yeah, but it's really hard to. So keep that in mind. Secondly, if you're in the middle of something outside, hot, strenuous, that's not the time to hydrate. If you're going to class and it's a hot day, you should already be hydrated. You should be drinking water constantly. You have to regulate that intake. And if you're not doing that, you're going to get into trouble. Remember when I talked about sitting in a week ago on a promotion board, black belt testing board for a friend's school? There were 3 people testing. One of them is younger, 16, 17. He was out in the first 15 minutes. I could tell from watching him. He wasn't going to make it, and he didn't. He was dehydrated. It was very obvious in the way he was acting. He looked drunk. He didn't have the water, the salt. If you want to get something more formalized, there are products out there that are broader electrolytes, sodium, potassium, magnesium. I feel like we talked about this recently, and I couldn't remember the fourth one. That I can't remember it now. But I think those are the big things: water, salt, electrolytes, getting out of the sun. A few of the way, let's see, what else do we have for questions so I don't ruin these? Heat exhaustion, heat stroke. What's the difference between heat exhaustion and heat stroke? My heat stroke's way worse. Heat stroke, I believe you need to go to the hospital. Heat exhaustion, maybe not. A heat advisory and a heat warning. What's the difference? Again, it's severity. All right, so some other preparatory things, which is more my. Nish says, "All here. This is what this is for." Nish said, "All I heard was eat more bacon." I love that. Thanks, Nish. So I mentioned to you guys recently that I started eating turkey again after over a decade. And you know, one of the nicest things about eating turkey again, other than it's way cheaper than fish and makes burgers better, there's turkey bacon. It's not the best quality food, but it's kind of tasty. Goes well on a sandwich. Turkey bacon. A few other things to keep in mind. So yesterday was a great example here. It wasn't going to get brutally hot, but 87, 88 degrees is still pretty hot. I've got the cat to deal with. So what do? In the mornings, all the windows are open. I try to get as much air moving through here as possible. I keep the windows open overnight. And then the moment the outside temperature is back up to the inside temperature, I watch it. I shut everything. I close all the windows. I close all the doors. I close all the curtains. The south side of the house, which gets beaten on by the sun. I've got two different curtains. You know, I've got an inside and an outside curtain that block light, blocks the heat. And I came back yesterday and it was mid 70s in here. Wasn't that bad. So, any other tips? Let's talk about training. We'll probably spend a few minutes talking about training, and then actually, let me see what Frank's other question was. And here, I'll say this, and then we'll talk about training, and then we'll call it a day. As a reminder, most weather forecasts only tell you the temperature, not the heat index. You can, however, calculate the heat index with relative ease thanks to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, heat index calculator, and Frank has a link there. I can't bring that over to this. I would have had to prepare for that. Okay, good to know. See, we're thinking about these things. Let's talk about training in the heat, because there are a lot of instructors who continue to run classes, as they should, despite the temperature. However, not everyone recognizes the danger that can come from training when it's hot. A heavy cotton uniform, soaking up sweat, pressed against your body, does not allow the sweat to evaporate and cool your body. If you are dehydrated, you are at risk, etc. So, Jeremy's strategies for training in the summer. I already mentioned the two big ones. Be hydrated. Oh, that's one. Stay hydrated via water and electrolytes. Those are huge. Okay. 2, consider what you eat. Carbohydrates require a lot of water for digestion. It's going to pull water out of your body. So consider that eating a heavy meal comprised of carbohydrates is probably not going to sit well and may have an impact on how hydrated you are. Also, take it easy. There is a line between being lazy and being dumb. When it is a hot day, when you have worked all day, when you are tired, when you are mildly dehydrated, et cetera, only you know where that line is. If you choose to go to class on a really hot day, most instructors that I've known have been good about this. Not all of them are. Only you can know where to draw that line. There is nothing wrong with going to class and dialing it back a notch, whether it's because it's brutally hot and you're dying, or because you're injured, or any other reason. And I'm sorry to say, if you have a school where the instructors do not permit that, where they do not trust you, and you should have a conversation with the instructor. And sometimes you have to be really honest. Sometimes that happens before class because you know what's going on. Sometimes it's during class. Sir, ma'am, however you address your instructors, I was outside all day. I'm not doing great. I want to participate, but I need to dial it back a notch. If you're at a school that does not permit those sorts of conversations, I don't think you should be there. I don't make those kind of broad generalizations very often, but I will with this. Because health and safety come before self-defense. You injuring yourself in training is literally the opposite of self-defense and of martial arts. So Matthew says, do you recommend eating after training as opposed to before training? In most cases, for most people, yeah. It takes a couple hours for food to move through, and digestion is the second most energy intensive process in the body. Brain uses the most calories, digestion uses the second most, which is kind of ironic because that's how we get food. But if you're tired during training, if you find that you're sluggish, yeah, you may consider having something very small. There's a psychological thing going on there. A lot of people, oh, but if I eat, I won't have energy. You're not getting energy that fast anyway. So keep that in mind, other than very simple carbohydrates like sugars. That's why endurance athletes take those gels and those goos. The last thing to think about with regard to training in the heat. It's a good time to stretch. Okay. I've been thinking a lot about flexibility, stretching, the stretching program we have. I've got some time carved out next week to record the videos, at least the first drafts of the videos. And then once we have that, we can start rolling that out. I'm excited for this program. People are really digging it. I've got a handful, I think 3, 4 professionals that are at least verbally signed on to read it, give their input, and write it forward. I've got a personal trainer. I've got an occupational therapist. I've got a doctor. I've got a bunch of people who are going to contribute to this. I'm so excited. This project has gotten a lot bigger than I thought it would be, but it's been pretty great. So don't be afraid to stretch. And if you're an instructor, some of the most memorable classes I had from the hot summers when I was a kid, stretching classes. Hey, everybody, you all made it here. It's really hot. We can stumble through more intense things. Some of you will sweat to death. Some of you will sweat and other people will step in it and fall, and it'll be gross. Or we can lean into the thing that's being provided to us, really hot day, which is great for stretching, and just have a really nice flexibility class. Don't be afraid to do that. People value flexibility. Are there people who will grumble? Oh, it wasn't a very hard training session. Yeah, but so what? That's their problem. You gotta mix it up. And with that, I'm off to drink more cinnamony coffee. Those of you that watch, whether it's real time or live, I would love your feedback on how this went from the technical side. I know I've got the thing where I'm looking down. We'll figure out a way to do that. I could probably, you know what I'll probably end up doing if we end up doing this more? I'll probably lift up the laptop. I'll probably set up a base of something, right? Like this isn't that different. I'm just looking to the side. I can handle that. We'll figure something out. But in terms of what you saw, audio quality, video quality, what did you think of the comments being put on the screen? Anything, any of that input you're willing to provide, whether it's publicly on the video, or if you don't want to, if you really want to tear me apart, email me privately if you want, jeremy@whistlekick.com. Most of you have other ways of getting to me anyway. So just let me know if you can. That would be really helpful. We're going to work through this. I'm definitely not ready to bring Facebook into this. So this will be part of the project for the coming week is how we dial this in. So thanks for indulging me. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. I didn't even tell you what I'm doing this weekend, but I'll tell you on Monday. So have a great weekend, and I'll see you back here on Monday. Peace.